everybody. Brian Hussar here. Happy New Year. Hope your holiday season was a great one, and I hope your new year is starting off on the right foot and continues that way throughout the year. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel and watching this. If you like what you see, please click that subscribe button and hit that bell notification and spread the word about my channel. Let's see if I can get to 1,000 subscribers this year. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I definitely appreciate it as always. What I want to talk about today, and I talked about the 50th anniversary of the band's Music from Big Pink last year. This year, thanks to my mother, thank you, Mom, for this, the 50th anniversary of their sophomore album, simply titled The Band, or the Brown Album. These guys here, Richard Manuel, Levon Helm, Rick Danko, Garth Hudson, and Robbie Robertson. A lot has been said about this album, and everything that was promised on Big Pink in '68 was confirmed with this album in '69. The album's a masterpiece. The album still holds up, and what is great about the band especially during this period, their music sounds nothing like what was going on at the time. It totally went against the grain. Bands are going to go trip out and be psychedelic. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something else. Although they did have touches of psychedelia thanks to their genius keyboard player and saxophone player Garth Hudson. But their music was not like anything. Is it rock? Is it country? Is it R&B? Because these guys could be funky. Is it jazz? Is it old-time ragtime music? What is it? Nowadays they've come up with a term for it called Americana, but even that doesn't do what these guys were doing justice. And on the second album, they just hit it out of the park. I mean, this album's got every song on this album is a great song, but the two in particular that always stand out is The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down and Up on Cripple Creek. The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, I think a lot has been said about that song. Up on Cripple Creek is just a fun, funky, nasty song. But there's Across the Great Divide that opens the album with the nice Salvation Army horn section of Richard Manuel on baritone sax, Rick Danko on trombone, and Garth on trumpet. Taught themselves how to play the horns. So many great tunes on here. One of my favorite is Unfaithful Servant. Rick Danko in his haunting voice on there, and Garth Hudson doing a beautiful soprano sax solo at the end of it. King Harvest has surely come. That's what I mean. That song is funky as hell, man. So I knew that there would probably be a 50th anniversary of this thing. Now last year, when I did my review of Music from Big Pink, I liked the new mix that Bob Clearmountain did, but I liked it and I appreciated it for being something new. I have since gotten used to it, and I like it a lot more now. Kind of messed with the feel of the album, which when we talk about the Beatles remixes, Giles Martin really didn't do. He really didn't mess with the feel of the album. I thought Bob Clearmountain he left the count-ins at the beginning of The Wait and the song Lonesome Susie, the studio chatter at the beginning and the count-ins. I'm like, Music from Big Pink, even though these guys were up in the mountains and the Catskills and the music that they were coming up with, Big Pink was, in effect, a studio record. It really was. I mean, and to have some of the mystery taken away from that album, that took a bit away from the overall scheme of things. And the surround mix that he did, I felt was just a tad bit gimmicky. Like on the song We Can Talk, all of the vocals were in the rear channel, except for Richard Manuel's. So I didn't quite get that, so I was kind of nervous about this, but I read the liner notes, and I'm going to show you what's in this package in a second. And Robbie Robertson told him, I don't want you messing with the feel of the record. He said, this is a homemade album. This is a homemade album, which is true. They recorded this album in California. They rented Sammy Davis Jr.'s house. They turned his pool house into a recording studio. So everything was done in Sammy Davis Jr.'s pool house. So it, in a sense, was a homemade album, and they did everything themselves. They played everything themselves with co-producer John Simon playing instruments as well, Robbie Robertson doing some engineering. Created, in a sense, a homemade album. And Robbie Robertson didn't want that feeling taken away. And I didn't want that feeling taken away. And Bob Clearmountain did a masterful remix with this album. Masterful remix. Levon Helm's drums are now center, which is very good because they were sort of off-side, off-center on the original stereo mixes. He made things clearer with new technology, but he did not ruin the feel. It still sounds like, to me, this album always sounded like it was recorded in an attic. A beautiful old wooden attic that has just been cleared out of old furniture and stuff, but areas of the corners are still dusty. It always reminds me, whenever I put headphones on or listen to this album, it reminds me of being recorded in an attic for some reason, and I like that. So that, what I call the attic feel, if that makes any sense to people, has not been taken away. Beautiful things happen, like you're able to hear more guitar from Robbie Robertson on the fade out of Up on Cripple Creek. Overall, it's a beautiful mix. A beautiful mix. Nothing controversial to be added to it. And the 5.1 mix of this album, it's like you are sitting in the middle of a room, and these guys have their instruments all set up around you, and you're just in the middle of their playing. It's just like you were in their workspace. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, he didn't reinvent the wheel on here, which is good. He just made things, crisper, brighter, made the drums more punchier. I mean, those drums originally, Levon Helm tuned them so they sounded like you were being punched in the gut. Well, now they really feel like you're being punched in the gut, and in the 5.1, the low frequency information carries that through. So what do you get in this set? You get a CD that has the new mix done by Bob Clearmountain, and there are 6 bonus tracks. Up on Cripple Creek, earlier version of it, alternate version of Rag Mama Rag, the second song on this album, alternate version of Unfaithful Servant, instrumental mix of the song Look Out Cleveland, which is a nice rocker on this album, an a cappella version of a beautiful tune on this album, Rockin' Chair, and those harmonies by Rick, Richard, and Levon, beautiful, and an instrumental mix of Up on Cripple Creek. You also get the complete Woodstock performance, which was taken from the massive 38 CD box set, minus the lengthy stage announcements at the beginning, but it's the original raw mix. So all the controversy about did Robbie Robertson sing, did Robbie Robertson didn't sing, I'm not going to get into all of that drama here. I'm all about the music, but I will say, on the Woodstock tapes, he's singing and you could hear it, and he's occasionally getting too close to the microphone when songs are playing, and you hear him going, yeah! It's obvious him, and you hear him double under Rick on the weight, and plus he's got a solo spot on their version of Ain't No More Cain. I always called it Ain't No More Cain, but now I see the title Ain't No More Cain on the Brazos. I'm pronouncing that wrong, I know that, but it's an old song. I've heard it several times, but I always called it Ain't No More Cain. But he's got a solo spot on that, so he sings lead on that. Levon sings lead. Richard and Rick, all 4 of them take turns trading off on that. So that's the undoctored Woodstock recordings. and some additional bonus tracks which I haven't checked out yet. Outtake, good song that was left off the album, and it's on the original. It's on the original 2000 reissue of the album. Get Up Jake. Alternate vocal take a rag, mama rag. Alternate mix of The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. And plus you get 5.1, the 5.1 mix, and the original 6 bonus tracks on the first CD here are also in 5.1. And you get the new version of the album, of the new mix, 2 LP set to be played at 45 RPM, which I've played, and it's beautiful. Normally I don't like the 45 RPM thing. I know that it's better quality, a 12-inch record with these songs being played at 45 RPM, but it was originally a single album, and you're flipping the album over and over again, but the sound quality on the vinyl is beautiful and impeccable, and it's quiet as far as surface noise, so very good. And plus you get the 7-inch 45 of Rag Mama Rag. Now let me show you what's in here. Finally I get this picture close up. This was on the back cover of the original album. Look at these guys smiling. You know, look at this. This is such a great shot. There's some photos in here that I love. I love this shot of these guys at Woodstock on stage when these guys played Woodstock. Here they are again at Woodstock. Look at that. Here they are in the living room of the Sammy Davis Jr. house that they had rented, recording the album. They watch movies in this room. Look at this. Wouldn't you just want to be hanging out with these guys? I see this and I would totally love to be hanging out with those guys. Really would love to be hanging out with them. Hopefully you can see that again. Let me show it again. I can't see when I'm showing it there. Love this shot, the Salvation Army horn section that they would do. That's a beautiful shot. And one more that sort of broke my heart because his death was tragic. Richard Manuel's on the 26th birthday. God, breaks my heart seeing that photo there. Good liner notes in here, as I've said. Oh, an outtake of the cover photo, which I like. That's good. The CDs and are housed in this kind of slip cover here, this thing right here. And you can see they're like here, like this. Elliot Landy photos. They found an old couch, and he had to take a photo on it. Beautiful, Elliot Landy. The vinyl set, which we all know and love. We all know this cover. If we're fans of the band, we all know this. Look at that. You know, the cover's in beautiful shape. You know, this is not going to be coming out of this box here. So, I highly recommend this set. It's going down in price, so definitely get it before it goes out of print and you can't find it anymore. But I think they did a great job on this set. Claire Mountain did a very good job on the new mixes, and he didn't try and reinvent the wheel as I kind of thought he did on Big Pink. I've come to love that one. I've come to like it. It took me a while. Definitely took me a while, but here, this didn't take me a while. The feel of the original album is there. Just, it's up front more. You're in the music more. You're hanging out with the band as they're recording this album. That's how I look at it. So, if you can get your hands on this, if it's still available, it's still on Amazon because supplies were kind of limited the last I looked. Get your hands on it. Highly recommend it. Or even just get the vinyl edition and the normal CD edition of it so you can hear the brand new mix. So, thank you very much. A bit long here, but thank you so much. And again, spread the word about my channel. And thank you so much again for always sticking with me. Leave me some comments below on your thoughts or your ideas here. You know, keep them professional as always. Give me some of your thoughts here if you have. And talk to you soon.